Welcome back. Today we'll be discussing the brand new season of Chapter 7. Chapter 7, Season 4. And look, it might be controversial to start talking about it now. The season just started and there's a lot more content for it to show us. But right now, I want to say I'm not happy with it. I'm very happy with the map. Look, Green Hill Zone is perfect. I think Reality's Reign could use a change, and whatever the Spire in the middle does, that's cool enough. I want to talk about the gunplay, the way the gunplay is quite spammy and not exactly shotgun heavy, despite the fact that we have the best shotgun meta. It's just so spam heavy with the ARs, with whatever other guns, including the pistols, that a player can pick up. Hopefully there's maybe an example of this. I'll try and look for one now. But there was also the controller aim assist bug. There was such like... I mean, like, that got fixed pretty early on, but... There's the match overrides, and just a bit where it's just like... It's not really what we maybe expected, and maybe these aren't the results that Epic anticipated from the community. So a few days ago, possibly a week ago now, creators got flown out to Epic HQ to obviously go and play the season early, and we got to watch those. I'm sure you've heard of the controversy now from that one female Fortnite TikTok creator. I do not know her name. Please help me in the comments. And I think it's a little, it's a little bit silly to be flaming her, but she's gone a bit controversial from being flown out to Epic HQ, saying the game's amazing, saying Epic Games had quote-unquote outdone themselves. But then, as soon as a clip goes viral of her complaining about it, the lashback starts to happen. I think she might be right in one way. Obviously, when we all die, we always complain about, oh, the gunplay is so shit. It's not me, it's the guns, it's the game. Maybe, but we all do that. I'm talking about the fact that the meta, as cool and perfect as it is, it's not that good. It's so spam heavy. I do believe this pistol is more viable than this AR, which I don't know how to feel about. I don't know how to feel about a loss of the fact that I can't rely on a shotgun to kill a player because they can stand still and shoot me with an AR while I have to maneuver with a shotgun just to have a chance at killing. So that's just really my first gripe with the season. I feel like the meta is very spammy. It's not skill reliable, which is fine from a certain point of view, especially from that point of view being a returning player or a brand new player. I'm certain there's someone who really loves Sonic and they wanted to play the season because their favorite character from Smash Bros. Or Sonic got added to Fortnie. I'm sure there's that case. And in that case, a spammy weapon is viable, but it gets to a point where it becomes the entire loophole. I'll try and explain it soon. There's also instances such as, there's instances such as these sprites, which I feel like no one's talking about, because these are a bit more gameplay heavy than last season's typically were. It's, what I mean by that is the sense that these ones now interact with your speed, they interact with your mobility, being the Tails one, they can upgrade your weapons, which I'm actually pretty sure was the last season one, being the Adventure Sprite. The 8-bit sprite, I think, works with your shotguns, that's okay, but it's interesting how each sprite now actually has something to do with gameplay. Whereas the last ones in my opinion, didn't really. They upgraded your pickaxe with the king sprite. They gave you speed and jump height with the air sprite. But stuff like the water sprite, you know, just set you in the water. Like, you just got healing from water. Dark sprite got you healing from emoting. It was very... Like, you did not use the sprites. None of you in the comments, I know, none of you used the sprites for their intended purposes. Because the sprites were so, ooh, shiny! Look at that, look at that! I've got a shiny sprite! These new ones are very gameplay heavy, which actually might make a bit more sense for a gaming season. And maybe it's taking the sprites in a new and creative direction than last season's unfortunately turned out to be. Because I'm sure you remember, sprites were getting sold on eBay back when they first came out. The 0 Point sprite had 100 listings. The gummy 0 Point sprite, which only one person had, started getting billions of listings. It was strange to see. Strange to see, like, indefinite. And, like, overall, I think it's cool how these are, but I think it's a bit of a drastic jump not being able to see as many sprites to either pick up and collect or be actually intrigued to use, because I feel like some of these, like, I kind of either don't want to lose or I really don't care about. And they're all kind of ugly. Am I allowed to say that? The 8-bit sprite fits the aesthetic a lot, but they're all so blocky, and it gets a bit hard to look at. I can say that, right? Yeah. It's just... the charm of the sprites all being unique, but staying in that same... that same proportions and way they were, given to us. There was just such a lovely charm to them, where I just feel like they've sort of been taken away through that 8-bit aesthetic. So if sprites are going to stay for the next chapter, or maybe the next season of Chapter 7, we need them to go back to, I think, the original mold, or have a cooler new mold. That's my take. It must be that way. So yeah, that was my second gripe. The sprites are just... I don't like them. They're not pretty to look at. Furthermore, I think the gameplay mechanic... Because look, you've watched me play this entire game. I think there's less of the gaming gameplay mechanic actually seen. I don't really like the idea that... Like, look, those game cartridges are so far away. I think I've only been able to activate one, and that was it. And all I did was increase everyone's speed, or increase everyone's XP. Oh, actually I did both, because I got 2 in one game. I was only so lucky to do that, though. I haven't been able to access one since. That was like 3 days ago. And yeah. I do appreciate the movement a little bit in this season, though. They've kind of toned down the running aspect, even though last season was called Runners. They've toned down the running and replaced the Spider-Man Mythics and the 7 sliders with the Sonic movement, which is creative in a sense, because it makes it easier for you to get hit, although not as easy as it was for the Chapter 5 wings, but instead its own unique way of being perfectly able to be shot at but not struck down immediately. The Sonic boots are perfect. I do agree with that. What else? I feel like now with the introduction of, like, I did say the map's good, but I just don't think it's quite good enough. I think with the introduction of these 3 new areas, I'm going to talk about the maze map later, but with the introduction of these 3 ones in the middle, it's just become a bit more barren. I'm going to try and walk through and just try and find somewhere to be. So there's now these new spots, which I feel like just take up space. I know they're the gameplay mechanic, but we can't get inside them like we could for the underground metro area. If I move myself along here, it's just area. The spire isn't as bulky as the Chapter Season 6 spire was, which I actually appreciated it for. But I feel like this area is lacking in the sense of the cool video game city that we almost saw in the trailer. You know, the one where Jonesy's in a video game world and all of that, and then they skydive down into the map. I almost kind of wish that was on the map instead of, you know, what we have now, which is just kind of a wasteland. Instead of, like, it's more wasteland than video game, in my opinion. Whoa, okay, we avoided them. Whoa. Can you tell this isn't scripted? Oh. But I think the world building is really cool. I'm excited to see which journey the legend Jones takes. And overall, the season has potential. I wrongfully doubted Chapter 7 Season 3. And I hope I've wrongfully doubted Chapter 7 Season 4. Actually, while we're here, I'm going to quickly talk about this maze map. I originally started the last video landing here, but I'm just using these as an example of how the video abruptly ended because I couldn't see one aspect of the area. And God, I don't even know where they are now, which could be saying something. I feel like I'm going crazy, but as you can see, there's these little platforms here. There we go. And I tried landing just below it, but without realizing it, and with our brand new way of landing, where we can now underplay our gliders, it's so much harder to be able to predict where we're going to land. And I just landed flat down, all on 1 HP. And it's a bit jarring, the way that we can run. It's such a creative maze, and I almost adore it for it. But when you're running around, you're trying to evade some people, and all of a sudden, okay, that opens up, that's so cool. And then further going through the maze, we're gonna go... Where else is the rest of the maze? I swear I thought this place was a maze. It's just a bit jarring seeing how some of this place can just pop out at you. Do you get what I'm saying? You try and go through a wall, and then all of a sudden a wall just emerges in front of you, and I don't really know what to do about it. It's impossible to get away from gunfights. I've only won gunfights from essentially cheesing my way into winning, and yeah. Lastly, I think my one last gripe with this map... Oh, hold on. I think it's very, very sweat heavy. Despite the fact that there's less bots, there's more... Wait, there's more bots and there's more sweats. And I don't know how to feel about it. It almost feels too easy and too hard to level up your sprites, which might be better in turn. Alright, that's all from me. I just wanted to yap about it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.